Chosen one, this message reaches you not by accident, but by divine design. You didn't simply scroll your way here. You were summoned, called by something beyond words. Have you ever wondered why certain messages find you when your spirit feels unsettled? Why some content pulls at your soul like it's echoing something you've always known, but never fully understood? This is one of those moments. The kind of moment that only the truly awakened recognize. Could it be that this message is your confirmation? That all the struggles, the silence, the heartbreaks were leading here, for a reason you're only now beginning to see? The final test has already passed. But here's what's wild. You didn't even know you were being tested. That delay you fought through, it was a divine setup. That disappointment, it was sacred training. And the pressure that nearly broke you, that was heaven's way of revealing the strength that had been dormant within you all along. So why now? Why this exact timing? Because the shift has already begun, and the spiritual realm has taken notice. You're not the same. The version of you that questioned everything is gone, and now the ground beneath your feet is stirring. It's as if the earth is preparing to release something huge, something only you are calibrated to receive. But are you truly ready to step into a life you once thought was out of reach? You didn't survive by accident. You endured because you were meant to rise. And now, beloved, the rise has begun. Let me pause here and express something sacred. To every soul who has supported this mission through Super Thanks, I am profoundly moved and infinitely grateful. Your support, whether through donations, comments, or simply your presence, is part of the energy that keeps this truth moving. You're not just watching, you're co-creating this spiritual space. And whether you've donated or not, know this: you are deeply appreciated. Your energy, your faith, your participation, it matters more than you know. Now, if this message is resonating in your spirit, take a moment to comment 777. Why 777? Because it's a divine code, a number that says to the universe, I'm in alignment, I'm ready, I've arrived. It's your way of saying, I hear the call, and I'm answering it. But what if everything you've been through wasn't random? What if it was preparation for a mission so sacred, even your pain had purpose? What if the very thing you thought disqualified you was actually the proof that you were chosen all along? This isn't just encouragement, it's an activation. And the deeper we go, the more layers you'll uncover, the more truth will unfold. And every time you return to this message, something new will reveal itself. You'll hear the same words, but with greater understanding. Why? Because wisdom is revealed in layers, and now you're ready to receive on a higher level. So take a breath, chosen one. Let this truth settle in your bones. The test is over. The illusions are shattered. You are awake, aligned, and ready for the assignment ahead. And now, let's step into the next level of what has always been waiting for you. God's chosen ones, you've unknowingly surpassed the ultimate test. Now, the blessings are coming. Chapter 1. The Silent Tribunal of Your Soul. Chosen one, there's a courtroom that no one sees. No judge's gavel, no jury, no witnesses. Just you, your soul, and the presence of God. You didn't even realize when the trial began. It didn't announce itself with storms or trumpets. It crept in quietly, through sleepless nights, through moments of internal conflict, through emotional battles that played out behind your eyes while the world thought you were fine. You thought it was anxiety. You thought it was bad luck. You thought it was just another rough season. But in truth, it was divine evaluation. The heavens were watching, not to condemn you, but to prepare you for the greatness that your spirit had long been marked for. Have you ever wondered why you couldn't escape the inner conflict, even when life looked stable on the outside? Why your spirit was restless in relationships, in workplaces, even in churches that seemed fine to others. Why it seemed like you were constantly too much for the world, or the world was not enough for you. This wasn't restlessness, it was your soul standing trial. A sacred tribunal had been set in motion, not to punish, but to refine. You were being measured by your responses, your restraint, your resilience, not in one grand test, but in thousands of invisible ones. It was in the little things, the way you responded when someone lied on you, the silence you kept when you could have fought back, the moments when you chose integrity over instant reward, truth over comfort, faith over fear. These decisions didn't make headlines, no one gave you a trophy. But in the divine court, each choice was being recorded. Can you feel it now, in hindsight, that these weren't small moments but sacred thresholds? Proverbs 17:3 says, "The crucible is for silver, and the furnace is for gold, but the Lord tests the heart." The fire you walked through wasn't to destroy you, it was to purify you. You weren't being punished, you were being polished. Look back. Remember when you didn't react to the insult. Remember when you gave when it hurt. Remember when you stayed silent, even when the truth was heavy on your tongue. You thought you were weak for staying quiet. But heaven saw it differently. Heaven saw you gaining mastery over your emotions. Heaven saw you proving that your character could carry the weight of your calling. Now think about the people around you, the ones who doubted you, dismissed you, mocked you, the ones who smiled to your face but sowed doubt behind your back. Some of them weren't evil, they were just playing roles in your refining process. Their attitudes became mirrors, revealing who you were not. Their judgments became pressure, forcing your soul to deepen its roots. They weren't your enemies, they were your unknowing testers. Consider the story of Job, a righteous man stripped of everything, family, fortune, health. His friends believed he had sinned. His wife told him to curse God and die. But Job endured the test. He questioned, he wrestled. But he never betrayed his spiritual integrity. And in the end, the Lord blessed the latter part of Job's life more than the former. Job 42:12. Like Job, your suffering wasn't random, it was relational. God was preparing a restoration so complete that even your past pain would bow in reverence. Even in modern times, look at someone like Nelson Mandela, locked in a cell for 27 years, betrayed by his own government, misunderstood by the masses. But when he emerged, he didn't come out bitter. He came out better, stronger, clearer, a leader not just by title, but by spiritual authority. Mandela's trial was his preparation, and so was yours. And here's what makes you truly chosen. You didn't need an audience to do what was right. You didn't need applause to keep your values. When everything was against you, you stood firm. Even if you cried, even if you bled, even if you broke down behind closed doors, you didn't give up. And that, right there, is why the silent tribunal has spoken. Romans 5:3-4 declares, "We also glory in our sufferings, because we know that suffering produces perseverance. Perseverance, character, and character, hope." The trials weren't there to rob your joy. They were there to give it a foundation. You were not being buried. You were being planted. Let's talk about the silence, the long periods where it seemed like nothing was happening. You prayed but heard nothing. You obeyed but saw no reward. You kept moving but felt no progress. Those weren't wasted seasons, they were sacred pauses, divine stillness. Do you remember Jesus in the wilderness? 40 days, no food, no comfort, just wild animals and temptation. But even he, the Son of God, needed to endure silence before stepping into power. Matthew 4:1 says, "Then Jesus was led by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil." Not by accident, not by misfortune, by the Spirit, just like you were. And just like him, you came out not just with clarity, but with power. The test was always about your mind. That was the battlefield. The enemy couldn't stop your destiny, so he tried to infiltrate your thoughts. You've battled self-doubt. You've heard the whispers. You're not good enough. You're wasting your time. You'll never get out. But you kept going. You kept believing. You kept building, sometimes in tears. And that, chosen one, is what separates you. Even in the natural world we see this pattern. Howard Schultz, the man behind Starbucks, was rejected by over 200 investors. Most people would have stopped, but he didn't. Why? Because something inside him wouldn't quit. And when it finally came together, it wasn't just a business. It became a culture. That's the chosen one's journey. Long rejection, silent struggle, sudden rise. And now you're rising too. Can't you feel it? The inner heaviness is lifting. The confusion is clearing. The fog is fading. Why? Because you've crossed the threshold. You passed the test. The blessing is no longer delayed. Not because God changed his mind, but because you have changed. You've become the version of yourself who can carry the promise. Psalm 66, 10 through 12 captures this perfectly. For you, God, tested us. You refined us like silver. We went through fire and water, but you brought us to a place of abundance. Chosen one, you're being brought into that place now. This is why things are shifting, why new connections are forming, why unexpected breakthroughs are appearing. These are not coincidences. These are confirmations. The spiritual tribunal may have been silent, but its verdict is final. You're ready. And don't expect loud applause. Spiritual promotion rarely comes with fanfare. It comes with alignment, with divine flow, with blessings that feel tailor-made for your soul. You'll notice peace where there used to be panic, clarity where there used to be confusion, power where there used to be pressure. Those who doubted you will begin to observe from a distance. They may not say it out loud, but they'll feel it. Your presence has changed. Your energy has shifted. You no longer carry desperation. You carry divine authority. And yet, even now, humility will anchor you. You won't boast. You won't gloat, because you know what it costs to get here. You remember the nights you wanted to quit, the betrayals that nearly broke you, the fear that nearly drowned you. But now, you also remember that through it all, God kept you. Isaiah 43:2 says, "When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. When you walk through the fire, you will not be burned." And he was, every step of the way. Even in entertainment, someone like Keanu Reeves endured deep loss. His child died. His partner passed away in a tragic accident. And yet, he never gave up on his purpose. Quiet, humble, kind, he kept rising. He passed tests the world never saw, just like you did. So what comes next? Favor, alignment, acceleration. The things that once felt hard will now begin to flow. The ideas you've been holding will find expression. The seeds you planted in silence are breaking through the soil. And those who never believed in you, they'll be silent. Not because they suddenly understand, but because your growth is undeniable. But pause for a moment. Chosen one, can you receive what's coming? Can you open your hands and believe that you are worthy? That you didn't survive just to keep surviving, but to thrive? The verdict is clear. You didn't just survive the test, you were transformed by it. You're no longer the same person. You carry weight now, authority, grace, and it shows. Galatians 6:9 reminds us, "Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." And your harvest season has begun. You are chosen. You are affirmed. You are ready. The silent tribunal has ruled. The scroll has been unsealed, and the heavens are opening over your life. Now walk in it. Walk with the quiet confidence of someone who was tested in private and will be rewarded in public. The stage is yours, but your validation comes from above. Welcome to your next chapter, chosen one. This is not the end of your story, it's the beginning of the reward. Chapter 2. Unmasking the obstacle that never really was. Chosen one, have you ever considered that the thing that held you back the most, the mountain you thought you couldn't climb, wasn't outside of you at all? That maybe the true barrier wasn't that person who hurt you, or the opportunity that slipped away, or even the betrayal that broke your heart? Could it be that the real obstacle was something much closer, something far more subtle but infinitely more powerful? The truth is both liberating and confronting. Your greatest challenge has always been your own mind. What if I told you that the enemy you've been trying to defeat, the one you blamed for the delay, the disappointment, the detour, wasn't a person, a system, or a circumstance? It was the story you believed about yourself. The story whispered by wounds you didn't ask for, written by experiences you couldn't control, and narrated by fear disguised as logic. Yes, people hurt you. Yes, life brought storms you didn't see coming. But the real weight didn't come from the pain. They came from the meaning you gave it. Why did that rejection hurt so deeply? Why did their silence feel like a sentence? Why did missing that chance feel like a curse? Because somewhere inside a deeper voice echoed, maybe I'm not worthy. Maybe I'll never make it. Maybe I wasn't meant for more. This is the hidden battlefield of the chosen ones. The war is never truly external. It's within. And until you saw that, the fight was always uphill. Romans 12:2 says, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." That's not just advice, it's the blueprint. Your transformation wasn't going to come through trying harder. It came through seeing clearer. And oh, chosen one, how long did you carry those invisible chains? The belief that love always runs away from you, that abundance is for others, that your voice, your vision, your power were somehow too much or not enough. These weren't facts, they were illusions. Illusions you inherited from the world around you, parents who didn't know how to affirm you, teachers who didn't see your brilliance, a culture that labeled you before you knew who you were. Have you ever wondered how many of your limitations were borrowed, not chosen? How much of your identity was constructed to survive rather than to thrive? Think about Moses, a stutterer, insecure, hidden in a basket and raised in a palace, torn between two worlds. When God called him to deliver a nation, Moses didn't point to Pharaoh as the obstacle. He pointed to himself. Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh? Exodus 3:11. The resistance was in his mind first, and God didn't change the mission. He transformed the man. You've had your own wilderness, haven't you? You've been Moses at the burning bush, trying to convince God that he made a mistake, that surely someone more polished, more confident, more normal was better suited for the role. But chosen one, God doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the called. And you, whether you feel ready or not, have already been marked for more. Look at Viola Davis, abused as a child, bullied, lived in poverty. She once said that shame lived in her body like a second skin, but she didn't let that shame write her story. She took the pen back, and today she stands as one of the most decorated actors of our time, not because the world handed it to her, but because she confronted her inner narrative and rewrote it. That's what you've been doing, maybe slowly, maybe with tears, but intentionally. You've been unlearning the lie. You've been peeling back the illusions. You've been standing in the uncomfortable light of truth. And haven't you noticed? The more you challenge your thoughts, the more your reality begins to shift. It's true that some people tried to hold you in place, and yes, they wore many masks, concern, logic, tradition, even love. But underneath it all was fear, not of you failing, but of you succeeding, because your success would force them to confront their own stagnation, and not everyone is ready for that. John 8:32 reminds us, "Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." But before the truth sets you free, it will challenge everything you believed about yourself. It will confront your patterns. It will disrupt your comfort. It will strip away the armor that protected your illusions. That's why the awakening felt like chaos before it felt like clarity. And yet, you kept going. While others clung to old identities, you risked becoming someone new. While others defended their dysfunctions, you dissected yours. While others escaped with distractions, you chose presence, even when it hurt. That's bravery. That's growth. That's what chosen ones do. Even in the tech world, Jack Ma, the founder of Alibaba, faced rejection over and over. He was told he wasn't smart enough. He was rejected by Harvard 10 times. But he didn't internalize their opinions. He rewrote the narrative in his mind and created one of the most successful companies on the planet. That's the power of unmasking the obstacle that never really was. So what was the illusion for you? Was it that you had to be perfect to be loved? That failure meant you weren't called? That your past disqualified your future? These illusions are loud, but shallow. They collapse the moment you see through them. And chosen one, you saw through them. That betrayal, it no longer defines you. That missed opportunity, it no longer haunts you. That voice in your head saying, "You can't," it no longer commands you. You stood face to face with your fear and refused to bow. You stopped seeking permission to shine. You let go of needing to be understood. You didn't need them to see you because you finally saw yourself. And now everything is changing. The inner battlefield has quieted. The voices have lost their grip. The space once occupied by self-doubt is now being filled with clarity, confidence, and divine confirmation. 2 Corinthians 10:5 says, "We demolish arguments and every pretension that sets itself up against the knowledge of God, and we take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ." You are no longer a prisoner of thought, you are its master. And now that the illusion is shattered, the blessings can flow. Not because God withheld them, but because your old mindset couldn't contain them. But now, your vessel is ready. The room is clear, the ceiling is gone, the cage is broken. All that's left is open sky and your courage to rise into it. What happens when the thing that scared you no longer holds power? What happens when the doubt fades and you start living like the person God already declared you to be? You are stepping into a life that was always meant for you, not the version of you that played small, but the version who now walks with spiritual authority. And those around you, even the doubters, will notice. They might not say it, but they'll feel it. Something about you is different. Your energy has shifted. Your voice carries a weight. Your presence commands attention. Not through force, but through truth. And in case you're wondering if this newfound confidence will make you arrogant, don't. True chosen ones remain humble because they know what it costs to heal. They know what it costs to forgive. They know what it costs to outgrow their own fear. Psalm 34 verse 5 says, "Those who look to him are radiant. Their faces are never covered with shame." That's you now. Radiant, not because of external success, but because you've been internally set free. So don't stop here. Don't shrink now. The old story has ended. The script is yours to write. What would it look like to fully believe in your worth? To no longer consult your past for permission? To wake up every day not asking, "Can I?" but declaring, "I already am." The illusion is gone. The obstacle has been unmasked. And what was behind it all along? You, your power, your truth, your anointing. And now, there's nothing stopping you. This is not the calm before the storm. It's the clarity before the elevation. You are about to rise, not because you're chasing anything, but because you've become who you were always meant to be. So, walk in it, chosen one. Speak with boldness, move with grace, expand without guilt. This is your season of mental freedom, and from this space, every other blessing begins. Chapter 3. The universe's secret plot to elevate you. Chosen one, haven't you always sensed it? That beneath the randomness of life, beneath the betrayals, the losses, the near misses, something divine was moving the pieces. People told you it was just coincidence, just bad luck, just how life goes. But your spirit never agreed. Deep inside, you knew something greater was unfolding. But what if every detour was divine? What if the delays weren't punishments, but precise choreography designed by heaven? Let's make it plain. Your life has never been random. From the very beginning, your journey has been infused with purpose, and every trial you endured was part of a secret plot, not to break you, but to build you. And now that you've made it through the fire, it's becoming clear. The universe was never against you. It was preparing you. Psalm 37:23 tells us, "The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delighteth in his way." Think about that. Your steps have been ordered. Even the missteps, even the falls, even the waiting rooms, they were all divinely accounted for. Remember those seasons when you felt like you were falling apart inside? You held yourself together with threadbare strength while silently asking, why me? Why now? Why this? What you didn't realize then was that you were in the center of a divine classroom. Life was teaching you in silence. Every loss was a lesson. Every delay was a doorway to deeper revelation. And could it be that the things that broke your heart were the same things that awakened your soul? Look at Joseph in the Bible, betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery, thrown into prison. To the outside world, it looked like misfortune, but to heaven, it was a setup. Genesis 50:20 says, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done." Joseph didn't just survive the chaos, he ruled through it. So have you. You were never drifting, you were being directed. Every closed door, every betrayal, every delay was a test wrapped in disguise. And like Joseph, you passed, not because you knew the plan, but because you stayed faithful when you couldn't see it. Do you understand the magnitude of that kind of trust? The universe only invests this deeply in souls who carry light. Most people run from pain. They get stuck in loops, trapped in illusions, afraid to question the programming they were given. But you dared to look deeper. You didn't just go through the fire, you came out refined. Like a diamond under pressure, you've been shaped into something precious, something rare. And now that the veil is lifting, you see what was really going on. You see that the betrayals weren't meant to shatter you. They were meant to strip you of illusions. The heartbreaks weren't meant to destroy you. They were designed to stretch your capacity to love. The waiting seasons weren't wasted. They were building your ability to carry the weight of your calling. Romans 8:28 reminds us, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose." Chosen one, can you see now that nothing was ever wasted? Think of someone like Tyler Perry, once homeless, rejected, laughed at. He wrote plays that no one came to see. But behind the scenes, something sacred was growing. Today, he owns one of the largest film studios in the world. That level of elevation wasn't luck. It was the result of trusting in the dark, of persevering when the world said no, of walking when the road was invisible, just like you have. But here's the twist that many miss. The universe rarely gives you the full plan. Why? Because it wants your surrender, not your strategy. If you had known what you were being prepared for, wouldn't you have tried to control it? Wouldn't you have rushed the timing, bypassed the process, tried to skip the wilderness? That's why God didn't show you the whole picture. He needed you to walk by faith, not sight. 2 Corinthians 5:7 says it best, "For we walk by faith, not by sight. And your faith, raw, real, vulnerable, was the very thing that unlocked your future. Have you noticed how your most pivotal breakthroughs came not when you had the perfect plan, but when you surrendered with nothing left to give? Others may have looked at you and thought you were lost. They may have mocked your detours or misunderstood your silence. But your soul was reading signs they couldn't see, dreams, synchronicities, whispers in the spirit, breadcrumbs from heaven. And you followed them, not because it made sense, but because something in you knew. And now, it's all starting to align. Even in neuroscience, there's a concept called neuroplasticity, the ability of your brain to rewire itself with new thoughts, new beliefs. Spiritually, you've done exactly that. You've reprogrammed the internal compass that was once broken by trauma and misinformation. You don't just think differently now, you see differently. You're no longer trying to force things, you're flowing in divine alignment. And here's where it gets bigger. This isn't just about you. The healing you've done has shifted the energy of entire spaces. You walk into rooms and people feel it, even if they don't know what it is. You speak, and something inside others stirs awake, not because you're trying to impress, but because you've become a mirror for what's possible. Matthew 5:14 declares, "You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden." That's your new identity. And whether you realize it or not, your very existence now challenges others to rise. You've become living proof that when you trust the unseen, the seen eventually bows. And now, with the old illusions shattered and your soul expanded, you're standing on the edge of something holy. No more cages, no more ceilings, no more limits disguised as logic. You are no longer just praying for blessings, you've become a magnet for them. You're no longer begging for direction, you are the direction. And the divine plot that once seemed confusing now looks like perfect symmetry. Ephesians 3:20 says, "Now to him who is able to do immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine, according to his power that is at work within us." The life unfolding before you now, it's greater than what you asked for, because it was never about what you wanted. It was about what you were called to become. So now the only question is this: will you rise into it? Will you fully own the space that God has cleared just for you? Or will you hesitate, still carrying shadows that no longer belong to you? The choice is yours. But one thing is certain: the universe has already voted. Heaven has already decided. You are chosen, you are elevated. And now, finally, you're ready. Not just for more blessings, but for your divine assignment. And that assignment isn't to chase fame or status. It's to embody light, to walk in rooms and shift atmospheres, to speak and stir souls, to lead, not with ego, but with grace. That's the real reward. Not just success, not just favor, but alignment. Chosen one, the plot was never random. It was written with divine precision. And now it's your time to step into the spotlight, not because you need to be seen, but because God's glory shines best through a vessel who endured the shadows. You're not just part of the plan, you are the plan. The universe didn't forget you, it was fighting for you, even when you were doubting yourself. Now rise. Chapter 4. When the blessings begin to overflow. Chosen one, have you noticed the shift? It didn't announce itself with fireworks or loud celebrations, but in small, almost imperceptible waves, a gentle ripple that slowly transformed into a divine current. At first, it felt like coincidence, a call at the perfect moment, a door you thought was closed swinging open, someone paying you back when you had forgotten they owed you. You paused and wondered, is this real? Am I just imagining it? But no, this was not a trick of fate or a stroke of luck. These were the first signs of the flood. The spiritual dam that once held back your harvest had cracked, and now the blessings are starting to pour in, not randomly, but righteously. James 1:17 reminds us, Every good and perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of the heavenly lights. What you're experiencing now, chosen one, is not temporary, it's alignment. It's the divine manifestation of what your soul has already earned in silence. Have you ever considered how many unseen victories you accumulated while no one was watching? You see, the overflow always starts quietly. The most sacred blessings don't arrive with fanfare. They arrive with confirmation, a job offer that perfectly matches your purpose, a message from someone whose words shift your spirit, a breakthrough in your finances that arrives just in time. Even your thoughts feel clearer. Your emotions settle into balance. The world hasn't changed, but you have, and that has changed everything. And then, almost like clockwork, things begin to accelerate. The blessings compound. Ideas begin to flow through you like rivers. You feel a magnetic pull toward the right people, the right places, the right timing. And those who once doubted you, they're watching now, not with understanding but with awe. They may call it luck. They may say, "You're so fortunate," but you know better. This isn't luck, it's legacy. This is the reward for your obedience, your endurance, your faith when the lights were off and the road was silent. Galatians 6:9 says, "Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." That proper time is now. The harvest has come, and you, chosen one, are walking in your due season. But let's be honest, receiving this much light after so many years in the dark can be disorienting. There's a strange kind of fear that whispers, "Will this last? Do I deserve it?" After struggling for so long, joy can feel unfamiliar. You might feel guilt or anxiety. But don't let those feelings rob you of your moment. You're not being punished, you're being stretched. This overflow is not too much, it's just enough for the person you've become. Think of Oprah Winfrey, not the media mogul, but the girl from Mississippi who endured abuse, poverty, and rejection. She could have stayed small. She could have let trauma script her future, but she didn't. She chose growth. And her blessings came. Slowly at first, then abundantly. Not just in wealth, but in purpose. And isn't that what's happening to you now? The blessings you're experiencing are not just material. They show up as unshakable peace, as clarity about your mission, as people who truly see you, as the deep satisfaction of waking up and knowing you're in alignment with heaven. Philippians 4:7 says, "And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." That peace, that grounded assurance, is one of your greatest blessings now. But don't be fooled. Abundance also brings its own kind of test. Just as pain reveals your strength, blessings reveal your humility. When life expands, so does the temptation to forget the path that brought you here. People will treat you differently. Some will flatter you to get close. Others will try to copy you, and a few may even resent you. How will you stay anchored in a season of elevation? You must stay rooted in truth. Stay in the practices that built your foundation: prayer, reflection, service, gratitude. Don't abandon the tools that brought you to the blessing just because you're now living in it. 1 Peter 5:6 warns us, "Humble yourselves, therefore, under God's mighty hand, that he may lift you up in due time." The key to maintaining the overflow is not just thanking God when it comes, but honoring God in how you use it. And here's where your calling deepens. What you receive isn't just for you. You are a vessel, not a vault. Let your overflow bless others, not because you owe them, but because overflow naturally spills. Your wisdom is valuable, your kindness heals, your presence shifts atmospheres. That's not arrogance, it's your assignment. Consider Malala Yousafzai, shot for speaking truth, silenced but not stopped. Her voice today doesn't just bring her honor, it brings education, empowerment, and change for millions. Your elevation is meant to do the same. What if your current breakthrough is the answer to someone else's desperate prayer? This is where legacy begins. Not when you receive, but when you release. When you turn favor into fuel for others. When you build bridges with your blessings. When your story becomes a lighthouse for those still in the storm. And yet, even in overflow, stay spiritually guarded. Sometimes the enemy doesn't come with suffering. Sometimes he comes with success. He'll whisper pride. He'll suggest comfort. He'll try to turn your expansion into ego. But you, chosen one, must stay watchful. Don't let the abundance become the illusion. Ephesians 6:11 reminds us, "Put on the full armor of God so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes." Just as you needed armor in battle, you need armor in blessing. Stay close to your source. Keep checking your motives. Keep inviting the Holy Spirit into your decisions. Let your success deepen your surrender, not diminish it. You've crossed over. You didn't even realize the test was happening, but your faithfulness passed it. And now the universe is responding, not with noise, but with divine invitation. An invitation to live aligned, to walk fully in purpose, to receive and release, to shine and still remain humble. So, what now, chosen one? Will you rise with grace? Will you carry this favor without forgetting your fire? Will you use this new power to uplift or to impress? The choice is yours, but heaven is watching. You've been given much. Now walk with much awareness. This is not just your blessing season, it's your assignment season. The overflow is not a finish line. It's the beginning of a higher level of impact. Welcome it. Steward it. Protect it. And above all, share it. Because the more you pour out, the more heaven will pour in. Chapter 5. Staying grounded as your world expands. Chosen one, you've stepped into a season of overflow. The doors that once refused to open are now swinging wide. The very opportunities that seemed distant are now arriving faster than you imagined. You've entered the space you used to dream about. But here's the truth, few will tell you. Success doesn't come with less responsibility. It comes with more. Are you prepared to rise higher without losing your foundation? Can you walk on the clouds and still keep your soul rooted in the soil? At first, the expansion feels exhilarating. You look around and realize you're no longer striving for a seat at the table. You're being invited to host the banquet. But as new doors open, so do new dimensions of your inner life. Not all of them are comfortable. Not all of them are visible to others. Some of the deepest spiritual challenges come not when you're struggling, but when you're succeeding. How do you stay authentic in a world that suddenly wants a piece of your light? Psalm 18:35 offers a key. You have given me the shield of your salvation. Your right hand has held me up. Your gentleness has made me great. Notice the paradox. Gentleness made you great. Not striving, not shouting. Gentleness, humility, grace. Now that your world is expanding, humility is no longer optional. It's essential. But let's redefine humility. It doesn't mean downplaying your success. It doesn't mean pretending you're still the version of yourself who once begged for crumbs. It means remembering that the success you now carry was never yours alone. Divine alignment, angelic intervention, and the relentless guidance of the Holy Spirit shaped every breakthrough. Do you think it was coincidence that the right person showed up at just the right moment? That the door opened after you were rejected a dozen times before? Yes, you did the work. Yes, you endured the storm. But let's not forget, there were moments when unseen hands carried you, when supernatural peace guarded your sanity, when miracles snuck in through cracks you never noticed. That's why humility is not weakness, it's wisdom. And here's where discernment becomes your closest ally. As you rise, so do the numbers of people drawn to you. Some are meant to walk beside you, others are only passing through. A few are sent to distract or drain you. Can you tell the difference between a divine connection and a disguised assignment? Jesus understood this better than anyone. After he performed miracles, the crowds swelled, but he never entrusted himself fully to them because he knew their hearts. John 2:24-25. Not everyone clapping for you is clapping for your purpose. Some are clapping for their benefit, and that's okay. Your job isn't to fear connection, but to filter it. Set your boundaries with love. Protect your peace like the sacred altar it is. You didn't survive the wilderness just to become emotionally bankrupt in the promised land. Think of Maya Angelou, beloved by presidents, world leaders, and artists alike. But she stayed rooted. She kept her routine. She honored stillness. Even at the height of her fame, she spoke with clarity, not ego. She knew that the pedestal others placed her on was not her home, it was her mission field. Are you staying grounded in your growth, or are you letting the applause replace the presence? Spiritual growth doesn't stop when success starts. In fact, it intensifies. New levels bring new illusions. The temptation to coast, the lure of comfort, the assumption that I've made it. But the path of the chosen is never about arrival. It's about alignment. 1 Corinthians 10:12 offers a sobering reminder. So if you think you are standing firm, be careful that you don't fall. Success without spiritual vigilance is a trap. Stay tuned to the voice that guided you through the valley. Don't let the mountaintop make you deaf. Your life, now more than ever, carries influence. Whether you realize it or not, people are watching how you move, how you speak, how you treat others in this new season. What message is your life whispering to those who are silently hoping they can rise too? Authenticity has never been more powerful. You don't need to perform. You don't need to impress. Let your life be your message. Let your success carry the scent of surrender. Let your journey echo the rhythm of grace. When you remain authentic, you stay accessible. Not in proximity, but in spirit. You remind others that elevation doesn't require losing yourself. True blessings aren't one-time deposits. They are living, breathing invitations to walk more deeply with God. This is not the end of your spiritual work. It's the beginning of a deeper devotion. Luke 12:48 says, "To whom much is given, much will be required." That much includes wisdom, stewardship, and sacred vision. Chosen one, this is the time to write your vision. Speak it aloud, make it plain. Habakkuk 2:2 tells us, "Write the vision and make it plain. Though it tarry, wait for it. It will surely come." You are no longer just dreaming, you are building. The world might call it ambition, but you know better. This is spiritual evolution. This is the next chapter in your divine assignment. Don't let skepticism shake your clarity. Don't let small minds limit your vision. What you're walking into has never been done. Not like this, not through you. And what's more, this elevation is not solely for your benefit. It's meant to inspire, to activate others, to expand heaven's blueprint on earth through your life. Think of Brené Brown, once shamed for speaking openly about vulnerability, now one of the most respected voices in psychology and leadership. She didn't chase validation, she stayed in her truth, and that truth became her ministry. Could it be that your voice is also meant to set others free? Remember, there's a fine line between ambition and arrogance. Humility and confidence must hold hands. Keep your feet on the ground and your spirit pointed to heaven. That's how you remain a vessel of both power and purity. And as you continue to rise, you will notice something beautiful. New mentors, new allies, new spiritual companions will appear. They won't feel like chance, they'll feel like completion. These are divine matches for the energy you now carry. Welcome them, but don't idolize them. Let them sharpen you, not define you. You are no longer limited by the old story. You've evolved past the identity that played small for the comfort of others. And now the real question arises, what will you do with this new freedom? Will you hide, or will you lead? Will you coast, or will you continue creating, building, serving, teaching? Will you forget your fire, or will you become the flame that lights 1,000 torches? Because your story is no longer just your own, it's part of a grand narrative unfolding across time. It's the story of divine elevation, of sacred responsibility, of what happens when a soul refuses to stay hidden. Chosen one, the expansion you're experiencing is not the final destination, it's the momentum. Stay grounded, stay grateful, stay growing, because heaven is not done with you yet. There is more, and this time you'll rise not by striving, but by staying aligned. Chapter 6. Reflecting on triumph and moving forward. Chosen one, take a breath, a long, deep, sacred breath. You've made it to the summit of your soul's first great mountain, and now from this elevated place, you can finally see the full terrain behind you. The road was not straight, it was winding, rocky, shadowed. There were nights when you collapsed in exhaustion, mornings when you rose only because your spirit refused to let your body stay down. You doubted yourself, you questioned your value, you fought silence, you endured isolation, but you never gave up, and that changes everything. Pause here, not to rush into the next conquest, not to chase the next level, but to reflect, to honor what just occurred. Do you realize what you've done? You've passed through fire that many do not survive. You endured trials that were designed to reveal you, not destroy you. You faced challenges not just external but deep within. The voices that told you you weren't enough, the fears that whispered, maybe you should quit, and the illusions that tried to convince you that your light was too much for this world. But here you are, still standing, and not just standing, radiating. Isaiah 43:2 promised it. When you walk through the fire, you will not be burned. The flames will not set you ablaze. You didn't just survive, you transcended. You became someone new, someone more aligned, more awake, more aware. The version of you that doubted their worth. That version has dissolved. In its place is a soul forged in divine truth. This victory isn't about proving your worth to others. It was never about silencing the doubters or seeking validation. It was about evolution. You weren't here to win a race. You were here to shed your limitations. You were called to rise, not in competition, but in calling. Look at how far you've come. Where there was once fear, you now walk with courage. Where confusion clouded your path, now there is clarity so profound it feels like a compass in your chest. Where self-doubt built walls, now self-trust has opened gates. You don't just hope you're enough, you know you are. Galatians 6:4 says, each one should test their own actions. Then they can take pride in themselves alone, without comparing themselves to someone else. That's where you are now. The quiet pride of someone who did the work. Someone who cried, who fell, who got back up again and again without needing to be seen. And now you've stepped into your reward, a new version of yourself, unlocked and unshakable. But chosen one, don't think the journey is over. This was just the first great phase. And with this new level comes new responsibility. Spiritual growth doesn't end at the finish line. It expands, it deepens, it refines. The illusions you've broken will try to return in new disguises, but you are no longer who you were. You are sharper now. You are wiser now. You recognize the game. You see the distraction. And most importantly, you no longer seek external permission to live in your power. Let me remind you of Trevor Noah, who rose from apartheid-era South Africa born into a world where his very existence was illegal. His early life was filled with secrecy, fear, and systemic rejection. And yet, he did not become bitter. He used humor as a weapon of healing and storytelling. He transformed his pain into purpose and became one of the most respected and insightful voices of this generation. Isn't that what you've done too? Turned rejection into wisdom, sorrow into strength, and silence into power. And what about Shania Twain? She was born into poverty, faced abuse, and lost both parents in a tragic accident. For a while, her dreams were buried beneath survival, but instead of giving up, she rose. She redefined country music, broke records, and became a global icon, not because life was easy, but because her spirit was relentless. And even after vocal injury threatened to end her career, she found her voice again. Chosen one, can you see how your story carries that same resilience, that same rebirth? And yet, even now, people will question how you did it. Some will say it was luck. Others will attribute it to coincidence. But you know the truth. Your alignment wasn't an accident. It was orchestrated. It wasn't random. It was refined through pain, through silence, through surrender. Can they truly understand what it took to get here? Does anyone fully comprehend the cost of your transformation but you and God? Proverbs 16:3 speaks clearly. Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and He will establish your plans. And so He has. That's why doors are opening, not because you forced them, but because you now carry the frequency that unlocks them. Divine opportunities, soul-aligned relationships, unexpected resources, they flow to you now, not because life is easier, but because you are aligned. Still, stay alert, stay ready, stay in posture. You didn't get here through complacency, you got here through divine discipline. Keep your spiritual armor on, not out of fear, but out of honor. Because what's coming next isn't just about survival, it's about sacred expansion. This is when new mentors begin to appear, souls who feel like destiny. This is when your divine assignments multiply. This is when your purpose becomes even more precise. And this is where your impact begins to ripple beyond what you can currently see. Have you imagined the number of lives your obedience will inspire? Have you considered how your healing is already creating healing in others, simply through your presence? Every step has led to this moment. The hardship wasn't punishment, it was positioning. The delays weren't denials, they were preparation. Every no you heard in the past, it was simply making room for the more powerful yes you're walking into now. Think about Viola Davis, rejected, undervalued, disregarded, and yet she rose. Not because the world finally accepted her, but because she accepted herself. She walked in her truth until the world had no choice but to recognize her. That's you now. You don't need validation. You are validation. You don't need permission. You are permission. And now, chosen one, you're called to move forward with holy intention, not with anxiety, not with fear, but with reverence. Reverence for what you've been through, reverence for the doors that have opened, reverence for the divine plan that continues to unfold through you. Micah 6:8 gives the posture: act justly, love mercy, and walk humbly with your God. That's how you stay grounded. That's how you carry your success with sacred weight. That's how you become not just someone who overcame, but someone who empowers others to overcome. Because that's the next stage of your calling. It's not just about what you've achieved, it's about who you become for others. You are now a mirror, a living testimony, a lighthouse for souls still wandering in the dark. The universe didn't elevate you just to celebrate you. It elevated you to use you for impact, for influence, for eternal transformation. Look around, feel what's shifted. You're no longer operating from survival. You're building from overflow. You're no longer proving anything. You're embodying everything. Do you see how powerful that is? Every part of your journey mattered. Nothing was wasted. Not the heartbreak, not the loneliness, not the confusion, not even the mistakes. All of it was raw material for your rebirth. Romans 5:3-5 declares, "We also glory in our sufferings, because we know that suffering produces perseverance. Perseverance, character, and character, hope. And hope does not disappoint." You are now living that hope. Not blind optimism, but embodied hope. Hope that walks, that builds, that uplifts. So what's next? More vision, more service, more sacred alignment. Because your journey isn't just personal, it's prophetic. The world needs your authenticity now more than ever. They need to see someone who didn't take shortcuts, who didn't sell out, who didn't quit. Someone who stayed, endured, and transformed. Chosen one, you have crossed over. You're no longer who you were. You're no longer bound by who others said you had to be. The chains are broken. The past has no hold. The illusions are shattered. And the most beautiful part? You're just getting started. Now, beloved chosen one, with your confidence steady and your vision renewed, you step boldly into the next phase of your journey. You are no longer questioning your identity, no longer searching for signs to confirm your worth. You know who you are. You've been refined in the fire, strengthened by storms, and elevated by grace. You've walked through the dark with nothing but faith as your lantern, and now you carry the light, not just for yourself, but for others still trying to find their way. You are no longer chasing purpose. You are embodying it. You move through life now with authority, not because you seek to dominate, but because you have surrendered to something greater than your ego. What flows through you is divine. And while the journey ahead still holds its own mountains and valleys, you now carry something unshakable inside. The awareness that God goes before you, that the universe conspires in your favor, and that you are never walking alone. Chosen one, keep pressing forward. Keep anchoring yourself in truth, in presence, and in spiritual clarity. The world needs your light, your wisdom, your voice. Don't let the noise distract you. Don't let the old stories pull you back. You've broken the chains. You've crossed the threshold. And the path ahead is anointed. This story, your story, is only just beginning. Everything that has happened so far was just preparation for a chapter far more extraordinary than anything your past could contain. Stay faithful, stay focused, stay aligned. The road ahead is rich with divine appointments, unexpected blessings, and revelations your heart has only begun to imagine. You were born for this moment. You were chosen for this hour. To every radiant soul who's walked this journey with me, thank you. Thank you for showing up with open hearts, for reflecting, growing, and rising into the fullness of your calling. Your presence here means more than words can express. Whether you've been silently watching or actively engaging, you are part of this divine movement, and your energy is felt and honored deeply. If this message has moved you, inspired you, or simply reminded you of your power, consider supporting this work through Super Thanks. Your contribution helps keep this mission alive, so more chosen ones like you can awaken to their purpose and healing. But please know this from the depths of my heart. Whether you choose to donate or not, I am already grateful beyond measure for you. Your presence here is a divine gift. And now, I bless you. May you continue to rise with grace. May you walk in rooms and shift atmospheres. May your name be spoken in places of favor. May your steps be ordered, your heart be light, and your spirit be fierce with faith. May divine opportunities find you with ease, and may peace overflow in every corner of your life. This is your moment, chosen one, and the heavens are watching, cheering, as you walk boldly into it.